Welcome back to the Adaptive Athlete Podcast, the place for conversations with adaptive athletes in the CrossFit space and beyond. I'm your host, Matt Hotho. On today's episode, I'm talking with Bruce Williams. If you've competed at an adaptive CrossFit event, especially the WheelWOD Adaptive Games, there's a good chance that Bruce or one of his team members has a photo of you. He's the person behind dope content, and he's been documenting this community for years. But this episode isn't really about photography. It's about why Bruce keeps showing up. He does nonprofit work with Flashes of Hope, Autism Strong Foundation, and Dream on 3. And the through line in all of it is the same. He's drawn to people fighting through things that they didn't ask for. We also get into some stuff that's genuinely useful, how to approach brands as an adaptive athlete, what you need to know about photo licensing and media rights, because most of us aren't getting this right. And we try something new in this episode with a call from a listener of the podcast. Bruce answers all of it. So here's my conversation with Bruce Williams. Welcome back to another episode of the Adaptive Athlete Podcast. I'm here with a special guest that I'm really excited to have on the podcast. What's up, Bruce? How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, man? Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks, man. We love having you as a part of the community. Bruce, if you don't know, is Bruce Williams is the photographer who kind of does most of the photographs that you see coming out of the CrossFit Adaptive Games. He's been a huge part of the community for a long time. So, Bruce, you're a part of the community. How did 26.1 go for you?
Oh man, so let's just say after that second round of wall balls, I did eat a box jump because my legs felt like lead. I don't know what happened. They didn't operate the way I thought they were going to.
Oh man.
But other than that, man, I couldn't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
My VO2 max was just up there. I just could not breathe. But I got into the round of 66. I have to look back and see what it was, but I was gassed, man. But legs are still hurting now, which is why I'm sitting down.
Oh,
so,
dude, totally.
Yeah.
When did you do it? Thursday, Friday?
I did it Friday.
Okay, Friday. Yeah.
I shot it at a gym on Thursday, and then I shot it in a gym on Friday, and then when they were done, I did it after I was finished photographing.
Okay. Not the other way around. You wouldn't do it and then try and photograph. Your hands were probably
absolutely
shaking.
not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. No,
I did it and walked home.
Yeah. I did it Thursday and today I'm just starting to feel like normal in my legs.
Yeah. That was rough.
Yeah. So Bruce, like I said, as we started off, you've been a part of this adaptive community for a long time as a photographer, but I think in this podcast, I want to get to know the man behind the photos a little bit more, right? I was telling you before we started, I did a little bit of photography, kind of what got me started in it. I reached out to a couple of the members of our adaptive community that are photographers themselves. Haley Kuhn, Hillary Spinster, and then Hope Kittle are all photographers.
Oh, yeah.
And they were so curious about dude, what inspires you? What's your story about what got you into photography? So I think there's some photography heads in this community that would love to hear about your backstory.
Okay, sounds good. So it started, of course, growing up, my father was a big photographer. He always had a camera with him. So he documented, our family trips, our family reunions, things like that. So if you go to my parents' house, there's going to be, photo albums everywhere because my dad was the one documenting, right? So I think seeing him do that and seeing how important it was to capture moments. And even when I visit them and I go back and look at all the photographs they have, there's a lot of people I wouldn't even remember or moments I wouldn't remember if it wasn't documented in those photo albums.
Yeah.
So when I started showing interest, as I stated, I was a personal trainer back in the day at LA Fitness, and I started really wanting to get into photography. So I started photographing my clients, their families, their kids' graduations, things like that. And my dad bought me my first camera. A D5000. Yeah. D5000 Nikon. Yeah. With the good old kit lens and little pop-up flash, the OG.
Yes.
Yeah. So
spoiler alert, kids, don't use the pop-up flash.
Dude. Yeah. If anytime I see someone shooting with a pop-up flash, from the side, from the stands, I'm like, that flash is doing absolutely nothing right now. But, I started shooting them, and then, there was a CrossFit gym that I in 2009, 2010, who kept bugging me to join the gym as a member in general. And when I told them I couldn't afford it, they were like, well, how about, maybe you do the photos for the WOD of the day. So I started taking photos of classes, and they would use my photos for the WOD of the day, and that paid for my membership.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, I mean, like I said, CrossFit was kind of just starting, and then more gyms started growing and picking up. And I moved to Charlotte, here in Charlotte, North Carolina, about 9, 10 years ago. And once I got here, it's crazy. I actually linked up with, fun fact, my first athlete that I met and shot here in Charlotte was Pamela Gagnon.
Oh yeah.
Gym, yeah. So shooting her at the Reebok CrossFit here in Uptown, like one of the, well, it's not there anymore, but so I started shooting those CrossFit athletes, and honestly, since I kind of just took off from there, just started meeting some great people, and like I said, linked up with Lisa from WheelWOD, and kind of got me going.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
So
sorry, Leslie and Lisa. My bad.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
Leslie.
okay.
Yeah.
So did you have any education in photography? Did you ever take courses in it, or were you kind of self-taught?
I literally took one course that I went to. It was like a workshop I saw on what was those little apps you could order something like really low discount, like they were deals.
Like a Groupon?
Yes, there you go. Yeah. Groupon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a Groupon for like University of Maryland for a workshop, like just to learn the basics of photography. So I took that. It was like, like a 4 or 5 hour course.
Yeah.
And that's literally all I've done. The rest was YouTube University, man. That's
Okay.
it. YouTube and trial and error. That's pretty much how I learned.
Well, and I would imagine that kind of getting in on the ground floor of fitness photography for CrossFit, you've probably grown a lot in how you frame things, how you light things, just kind of as you've gotten more experience with the sport, right?
Oh yeah. If you look back at, when I first started shooting, and you'll see the transitions and growth. I mean, we're talking, like you said, lighting and harsh clarity, and like just, there's some hit, like, the whole black and white, and then you only make like the grips in color,
Yes.
that stuff, or like
Yes.
only the writings in color. Yeah. I did all that stuff. Yeah. So it was horrendous, but yeah, I feel like I've, definitely studied other shooters, and, see how the photography and the videography has grown, and you kind of just try to see what works for you, and, match your style. And that's kind of where I am now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would imagine you probably would have some tips for someone who's starting in gym photography, or maybe struggling with gym photography. Like, gyms are darker than you would think. You probably need a faster lens than you would imagine, or a higher ISO. For
sure. Yeah, definitely need faster glass. I tend to shoot wide open most of the time, and my favorite go-to is my 51.2. Like, I just love it. So
every time you shoot with that thing, I DM you, and I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I love that. That's like, I mean, literally, if I could take one lens with me, like to the grave, that's the one coming with me, is that 51.2. So yeah, definitely. I mean, the problem with, yes, high ISO, of course, but, a lot of the cameras, I mean, you have to go to a higher level camera to make sure that the noise and everything isn't there. Like the cameras now, they're just, I remember when I first started, it was like, if you shot over 2000 ISO, like, you're getting nothing but grain. Like there's nothing manageable. I mean, but now, I mean, you can shoot at 5,000-6,000 if you want to, and just clean it up in Lightroom, and everything's good. So, but yeah, definitely gyms. And I think it helps with shooting gym photography is knowing the sport, like knowing the movements,
right?
Knowing when to shoot, like, and I think it helps. It always helps if you do it yourself, because you know what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Those
you're
parts
looking for
of like a wall ball. Right? Like where a person looks good doing a wall ball, where they look weird doing a wall ball.
Yeah. Like, double unders, you're not shooting when they're landing, right? You're not, you're not trying to, and you're definitely not sharing that photo for sure, unless you want to hold some ransom, but you're definitely not, you're not seeing that photo anywhere. But, especially, I mean, all these technical movements, snatches, cleans, like, when to shoot, when to catch the pull, when they catch in the bottom of the hole, like they're just things you're looking for. So it's fun to get creative in that aspect.
That's really fun. I think there's some people probably listening to this right now who can picture themselves doing that and have never thought about, that's when I would want to capture that photo, right?
Yeah.
And because you're right. I mean, it is that moment when you're kind of in the final part of the pull of a snatch where you look the most explosive, the most athletic, not in your set position, but actually when you're pulling that barbell up overhead.
Correct. Yeah. And like you said, lighting, angles. I mean, it all matters. So just, but like I said, I think that's something that comes in time. You'll look back at your photos and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's not the one. Mm-hmm. So you just know, you start to just learn as time goes on what to look for. And I think, and I'm sure a lot of photographers who are just starting, they'll probably shoot events and they'll come back with, 6,000 photos, like something stupid. Right. And it's like, because I mean, they're just shooting. They're not planning for their shot. Right.
Yeah.
So your goal is, bring down that number and, quality over quantity. Right. That's what you want.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big thing to pick your moments and, shoot with intention. There you go. Shoot with intention. Don't just shoot hoping the camera's going to do the job for you. Like,
That's right.
It's a tool and use it as a tool.
Kind of like that joke. I do some video work at church. And so it's like, fix it in pre. Get the shot. The shot.
Yeah.
When you get the shot, don't try and get the shot and go, oh, I'll just fix it later.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Don't do that. I mean, of course, will there be a shot like that? Yeah, of course there will be. I'm sure but that's not how you should approach your shooting at all.
And then I would assume an event like a 26.1 at a local affiliate too, you're getting the crowd, you're getting the energy. Also, when you shoot at the adaptive games or at the CrossFit games, right? You're kind of trying to pull that crowd then into that moment that's happening with that athlete.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, it always helps, which I think you've seen where now I bring a team to WheelWOD now, which helps so much because I'll assign a shooter to look for those atmosphere and those vibes and, people cheering while someone else is capturing what happened. And then we can, bring those two together as a moment. Right. So, I mean, sometimes with video, I can do it where I can cut to an athlete doing something. I can hear someone screaming or yelling and I know they're cheering for them and I can cut to them really quickly. But photography wise, I just love to get, have someone shooting atmosphere vibes while someone else is shooting on the floor.
Yeah.
And getting that.
Yeah. So
it tells a story.
Yeah, for sure. And we're not going to get super technical on this podcast. I probably just have one more kind of how the sausage is made kind of question for you. And that's at the games this last year, were you primarily shooting video and your team was taking care of the photo stuff?
Yeah, I was like 94% video.
Yeah.
And I did pull out the photos sometimes and shot, but yeah, I was definitely I can never not take a photo. I love shooting it so much. But yeah, I'm primarily there to do the recap video reels and all that stuff for the event.
And you're shooting it in like a slow-mo kind of whatever way you can to kind of create that drama of someone hitting a lift or doing a movement.
I usually shoot at I'm usually shooting at 120, man, all the time.
Okay.
On my FX3, but on my FX6 I'll shoot at 60. Yeah. So I definitely want to slow it down.
Okay.
For sure.
Gear talk done.
Got it.
No, this is for me.
Right.
This is for me because I can keep going. And our community's like, but he does so much more. So
that's accurate. It's like we're done geeking out.
Yes. Pull it in. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to get to how you got connected to WheelWOD, but first there's something else that you do that's so important if anybody follows you on social media, and that's the non-adaptive CrossFit stuff. Right. And that's working with organizations like Dream on 3, Autism Strong, Flashes of Hope. Can you tell me about some of that other nonprofit work that you do and what it means for you to be in those communities?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we'll take one at a time. So Flashes of Hope is an organization I work with at Levine Children's Hospital here in Charlotte at the Cancer Hospital. And pretty much I'm brought on and I set up a backdrop and we do photos for free for these kids where they're getting treatment for their families. And we'll bring in a makeup artist and the makeup artist will come in and do makeup on the little girls and make them, even more adorable than they already are. Right. And the parents get in the photos and we do everything in black and white. Just, I think a couple months ago, we did a prom for them and we photographed the kids in a backdrop and we deliver everything in black and white and we send them all the photos and we send them one that's like laminated and like framed in like almost like crystal like glass that they get.
Yeah.
And it's like a memorabilia for them. So I've been doing that for maybe 6-7 years. And that involves, everything from that setup to I go into the NICU and I photograph kids, hooked up to machines. And what I really want to kind of point out is when I go to the NICU and these kids that are there, hooked up, with tubes going possibly everywhere, is the treatment and love they get from these nurses and staff. Like just seeing how they they surround these kids with love. So it's whenever I see the kids smiling and happy, like it makes sense. Like they get so much love while they're there. So it makes sense that they exude that themselves. So that's one thing I do. Autism Strong Foundation. I've shot for them. Actually, I just shot their gala last night. It was amazing. So in fun fact, they actually started as a CrossFit competition, raising money, and it was AMRAP for autism. That's how they started.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started shooting them, and now they have a Build Strong community. They have, and the owners of it, Becky and Rudy Toms, love them. They have a child, Landon. He is a twin, and he is nonverbal. And actually, he turns 18 in next week, I believe. And so they started it. From him. It's called Landon for Hope. Is that their motto? And so they've raised money. I mean, scholarships and funds for all these families who. Something I had no idea how expensive it was for speech therapy and these kids going to school. I mean, transportation, just their needs that they need to have. So yeah, I shoot their CrossFit competition, their events they have, all their galas, all their conferences. So worked with them for a long time too. That's another organization I get to work with.
Yeah.
Last one is Dream on 3, which is this is amazing. So Dream on 3, which is Brandon and Elizabeth Lindsay. So we do sports streams for kids. I describe it as Make-A-Wish, but the kids are not terminal. So all the kids can either amputees, they can be any sort of disability, autistic, any of those realms.
But the connection is that they really want a sports sort of dream.
Correct. They have a
sports sort of interest. Yeah.
Correct. For instance, like we've done almost Simone Biles, where the girl, she suffered from, was it high anxiety?
Okay.
Like that. And Simone Biles just loved that. So we flew out to Houston, went to her gym, hung out with Simone Biles for, at least maybe 6-7 hours, had tacos. I mean, it was really cool.
That's
hung
cool.
with her. We've done, Kentucky Derby, Antonio Brown. I mean, just Steph Curry, Drew Brees. I mean, we've done them all. So yeah, usually these kids, it's usually things that bring them, what brings them joy, who is their idol, who they look up to. Kentucky Derby, the kid he had regressive autism, and horses is what brought him calmness. So that's why we did Kentucky Derby for him.
Okay.
And actually their gala's next month. So there's another gala I'll be at shooting.
Wow. That's cool. Yeah. And you had a Dream on 3 that was also CrossFit related, where all your worlds combined.
It was, So last year we shot the games for a girl named Bailey. And she suffers from an immune disorder that doesn't allow her to really compete and do the thing that she wants to do, but she still loves to work out and do fitness. So her dream was to go to the CrossFit Games. So last year, flew out there, went to the games. She had a backstage tour. We did a meet and greet with, Hopper, Fee Sagafi, Daniel Brand, a personal moment for her. The CrossFit shop gave her a unlimited shopping spree. Like, we got the store before anybody even got access to it, and they just let her go ham in there and get whatever she wanted. Shout out to Rad Global. They gave her shoes. They let her buy whatever shoes she wanted. Give her backstage tour. They even made her a personal, the little Drake banners they put over the starting line.
Yeah.
They made one for her.
Come on, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. On the floor for the announcements, for the final, the winners.
Yeah.
They brought her on the floor and allowed her to give the medals and stuff to the athletes who won. Wow. And she walked the parade. She did everything, man. It was the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
She walked it with Haley Adams. That was her escort.
Wow.
Yeah. It was so cool. So cool.
That's really cool.
Super fun.
So you document all of these, video, photography as well. Provide that to the families.
I start from the send off all the way through the very end. Very end.
So with all 3 of these organizations, I feel like there's something, right? Like within you that's like who you are, that is like, I am called to or meant to be witnessing to these things, walking with these people, using my skills to document these things for these people. What is that? I think it's so cool, but what is that?
Yeah, I think I feel like I've always been drawn to people overcoming hard times or overcoming circumstances that they didn't ask for. And I've always admired seeing just people fight through that and have perseverance. And I mean, growing up, my parents were like, oh, you got a testimony. Someone's got a testimony, and it's, when you hear things like that and hear what, I'm not sure of everyone's faith, if God, God pushes them through. And, I love just when I see things like that and see people push through without complaining, without trying to find excuses, and knowing that I feel like I was put in this path to document these things. Like, I refuse to not do it or not allow myself to capture these moments. Like, it's just something I truly live for. People ask me all the time, well, you do much other cool stuff. Like, I'm like, no, give me nonprofit all day, man. Like, give me that stuff, and seeing people who are just fighting for their normalcy. Like, I love documenting that. I mean, I was crying last night at the gala, like, just, things like that. I cried adaptive every single year. Every year I cry. There's just always something that happens at adaptive that I just lose it. And I look over, I'm like, see, I told you you'd cry.
Told you
every single time.
Yeah.
I told you. Yep. They were like, no, just watch.
So how did you get connected with the adaptive CrossFit community?
So I was shooting, there was a competition that I did shoot that was called beers and burpees here in Charlotte. And they had an adaptive division that was there. And so shooting that kind of not triggered me, but sparked my interest of like, oh, well, maybe this exists, somewhere else. Maybe there's a larger community of these CrossFit athletes that are, doing this. And then I researched and I saw, I think it's Leslie Manning at Neuse River is the gym, Neuse River.
Yeah.
And they were having, I was like, they have a WheelWOD competition every year. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. And what's funny is I had already been going to the CrossFit Games and shooting, and I saw that there was adaptive division, like when they were all together, right?
Yeah.
And the adaptive division, I was like, well, where are these athletes coming from? Like, if they're already, like, how do they get here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they have to be training somewhere. So anyway, I reached out to Leslie, and I asked her if I could come out there and shoot. And this is when they were having it at their local gym, or and then they went to a high school track. Like, I mean, this is where they were. And they
were
like,
21, right? Like 2020.
Oh, yeah,
2021?
Maybe 2021. Yeah, probably, yeah. And so I went up there and shot that, and ever since then, honestly, like, I've been attached to Leslie at the hip, in WheelWOD. Like, I just love him, man. So you guys can't get rid of me, man. I'm here for life, man.
Yeah. What are a couple of your maybe highlight moments from the adaptive CrossFit Games? Maybe two.
Okay, two. Well, I'll get one that's kind of a no-brainer, and I'm sure you probably remember this. And this is, and Amy Bream she'll probably say something about this. But I'm sure you remember when she was at the CrossFit Games and she, was crying doing the deadlift or the snatch, and she couldn't get the weight.
Yeah.
To be clear, I'm the one that got that photo, by the way. I'm the very first one that got that. So,
okay.
Amy, you're welcome. I think also another moment was, I think you remember this past year where I forgot the girl, but she was in a wheelchair and they had to ride a wheelie a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And she just couldn't do it. And she kept trying. She'd fall over completely. Her husband would pick her back up. She'd try again, fall back over. And I mean, for the entire time cap, all she did was try to work on getting that wheelie. That's all she was trying to work on. Everyone else, of course, is doing all the other movements. And, I went to her and I talked to her, and I was like, you know what? I was like, every time you did it, you got 1 inch further. Every time you did it, she's like, you know what? You're right. And it's like, and I'm just going to keep trying. I'll come back next year. And having that mentality and having the will to keep on going, that was a really, really, really strong moment. Another moment is, definitely what's his name? I think you saw, it was in the video. I have it in the video last year where he crawled across the
Brian
across
Nuno.
the finish line.
Brian Nuno.
Yes. That was a pretty, really, really cool moment for me. Because I mean, just to fight through that and just to cross the finish line, that's one of my favorite moments as well. And honestly, anytime, I mean, this happened numerous times, especially in the neuro division, seeing people push through it. And odds are they know for a fact they will have a seizure when they're done, like when they're done competing, like they will drop and start shaking, but it doesn't matter. So every time I see that, they just keep going, like just tears of joy, because I know they're fighting through something that we could not even imagine. So yeah, but yeah, things like, I mean, there's a few moments for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And I'm so glad you've gotten to document those, not only for the athletes, but also for, one thing that's huge about this podcast that I'm trying to do is like, I know there's kids out there whose parents would see or hear these episodes or see your content and go, oh my gosh, I didn't know my kid could do something like that.
I'll tell you this, Matt, every time on the Dream on 3 trips, when there's a kid who's like 16, 17, even younger, and they're wheelchair bound or missing arm or things like that, I'm like, I always show them WheelWOD videos every single time.
Yeah.
And then the parents instantly, I put them in contact with WheelWOD, and then they reach out to Leslie and they find a CrossFit gym that's, near them, and they get instruction on movement standards, things like that. And like now they're doing CrossFit. Mm-hmm. So I will never not share the world of WheelWOD to anyone that they could benefit. I will always share that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's definitely kids out there that this could make a difference for.
Yeah. They have no idea it exists. No clue. No clue.
This episode is brought to you by Equip Products, the leader in adaptive fitness and therapy equipment. If you're a seated athlete, you know that the lap mat is a game changer. It protects your lap during barbell work, lets you train harder, and is trusted by athletes all the way to the CrossFit Games. Built for adaptive athletes by people who get it. Check them out at equipproducts.com. And now back to the show. Switching gears a little bit without a clutch, although maybe this will tap into making sure people know that we exist more. I want to talk to you about branding and marketing a little bit, because you've created your own brand, Dope Content, and you've worked with a lot of brands and companies and stuff like that. And I'm wondering what advice you might have for adaptive athletes that are maybe trying to connect with brands or get sponsored and do stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, ideally what I did, or advice I would give is, I mean, first off, 100% be yourself and be authentic in everything. And my dad always told me, closed mouths don't get fed. You need to speak knowing your value and who you are. And you're going to hear no's. You're going to hear, I'll get back to you, or yeah, that sounds good, or send me your price sheet. Tell me what you're thinking about. What do you have in mind? Blah, blah, blah. But like, consistency is everything. There's plenty of companies that I reached out to who, I mean, either ignored me or didn't respond or just left me on red, things like that. But I'll tell you this, like months later, they're reaching out to me trying to shoot something because they want to get back to me. So don't ever get discouraged because, someone says no, or we're not looking for anyone at this time. Like, just stay consistent. And as far as with me and the Dope Content brand, like, to me, it's kind of, I'm an 80s baby, right? So, dope was our word, right? So that's kind of where I led with that. So I just try to be authentically myself as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And the whole, I think I just think I landed. I think it just worked out for me to just use Dope Content. I honestly don't even know. I know where the word dope came from. And I was like, oh, I do content, Dope Content. Sounds good.
Yeah.
And then it came off and now it's kind of just taken off itself. But I do
and the
believe
melty
that
smiley face helps too. I can.
Oh yeah. I love that. Yeah. That's my new. I got that tattoo on the back of my leg too.
Oh,
my
nice.
Little smiley face strip. Yeah, I did get that. And I think that kind of represents like of course personally, I think I'm dope, right? I think that. And then, I am a happy and genuinely nice person. So I love the smiley face. And then the drip is like a little, drip swag type thing to it. And then it's kind of trippy too. So it's kind of all my worlds melted together.
It does kind of give like an 80s, 90s vibe.
Yeah. I'm a big retro guy, man. So, I mean, I'm all about that. Like I'm wearing Vans and joggers and trippy tees, man. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah. And we were talking about the music that you've been listening to, and it's a lot of hip hop from the 80s, 90s. Like,
yeah. I'm a big Jeezy, big Jadakiss. Like, I love that old school hip hop, and I love old soul R&B for sure. So I'm I'm still listening, Music Soul Child, and I'm still listening to stuff that, people have no idea that's even existed. So yeah, but I love it.
Dude, in the show notes, we got a link to your Spotify profile too. All right. We'll link to your
Oh
Instagram
yeah,
and your
yeah,
Spotify
yeah.
so that people want to
Oh,
find out what Bruce is listening to.
I'm telling you, yeah. I'm always posting my stories and I'm listening to for my ride. So
I love
definitely
that.
check that out too. Yeah, for sure.
All right, Bruce, I want to try something here that we have never tried on this show before. I want to take a call from a caller. So Haley Kuhn, a seated athlete, sent me a voice memo before this episode started, and she has some questions for you related to your work. Like I said earlier, she's a photographer, and so she's uniquely interested in what you do. So Haley, what's your question?
First thing that came to my mind when you asked that question was like how to navigate so much going on the floor, because I think that's really different than just like, it's like portrait photography, but it's kind of in motion and then you have to juggle a lot happening at once in the room. How do you pick out of everything that's going on at once what to focus on, and how to capture so much content at once? Also, like, technical stuff is interesting too. The type of cameras he uses and how he shoots and how he edits and stuff. Like, that stuff I'm interested in just because like, I like to know the science part behind the art.
I love that question about how do you do how do you find the people in the moment, in the rush and the crazy?
Yeah. So yeah, okay. That's a really good question. So we'll use WheelWOD we'll just use adaptive games as because there's a lot going on the floor in general, especially when you have two different type of divisions going on, right? So, so honestly, I think a lot of it is, it's come from, number one, familiarity with the movements and how you all move. So like, for instance, I kind of like, I know, first of all, know the workout, know the transitions, what they have to do, know where the judges will stand, know what side the judges stand on. So, not to be in their view or in their view, or you can get a good angle of your athlete. I just try to, I kind of float on the outside just to see how everything's moving first. Mm-hmm. And then once I get familiar with, how things are going, where people are landing their barbells, and like when they're snatching, there's a lot of times you'll see me if I'm walking, I can be filming and I will step over a barbell because I know a barbell is there. Just knowing the floor and the layout, paying attention to detail, and knowing, like, for instance, if you know an athlete's struggling and like, wait, when they're dropping a dumbbell, like it's going all type of places, they're not controlling it, to kind of stay away from that area. And I think just having familiarity of the sport and how people move helps so much. Even when I look back and see my stuff that I've caught, I don't understand it myself. I don't know how I caught all these things happening on the same floor. But I think it goes back to, I think we talked about before, was shooting with intention, right? Mm-hmm. If you're shooting, especially video, if you're shooting, trying to tell a story, you're trying to get a certain moment and then you're moving on. Like, what you're trying to tell a story, you're trying to catch everything and build your storyline for that workout or for that day. So I think what happens is, and what she may be experiencing, is that when she's on the floor, she's trying to capture any and everything, and you can't do that. If you walk around I'm just trying to catch every single athlete, every single movement, you have to go in there with a plan of what you want to capture. And also you have to read the room too. There's going to be sometimes in your shooting, like we talked about, catching vibes, and you're going to see something, hear something amazing that's about to happen or is happening. Mm-hmm. You have to be aware of those things also, so you can make moves to get over there, which also, sorry to go back to gear, which is why it matters what kind of gear you have, focal length.
Yeah.
That's because you have to know, like, if I'm shooting on a 50, I can't get over there that quickly, mm-hmm. So, it depends if you're on the floor or if you're on the floor in the media pit. I mean, it really matters what type of access you have. If you're on the floor, I mean, you can roam wherever you want. I guess it doesn't really matter what you have. But if you're on the sidelines and you're trying to shoot from the media pit or from the stands, like, you have to have the right gear for those moments. Yeah. And then she asked about
editing.
And I'm a very, so I have like everyone seems to talk about my black and whites, but that's kind of like a LUT that I just created myself. And so I do that, but my editing is it's pretty simple. I don't try to do anything too crazy. I'm not big on like super vibrant, bright color. I kind of minimize it and dull it down a little bit. But I'm very, very simple. And I think we talked about this previously. It's like, get it right in right? Get it right in your shot. Get your moment, get it sharp, get it, get your focal point right, get your shutter speed right. Definitely be up. I mean, I'd be above minimum, 1/400th. Like that's the minimum I would go to be shooting the shot, the stop motion on a CrossFit space. So, and I think she asked about my gear. Did she ask about what I had to?
She did. Yeah. If we want to get super geary, I know you said an FX3 and FX6. I know you got that 51.2.
Yeah. And I shoot all my photo on an A1. That's what I shoot with, my A1. Okay. And then I have a 35 mil, 7200. I just sold my 300 mil. Sure. I did have one, but I sold it.
You can 50, rent that. You can rent that when you need it, right?
Yeah, it wasn't practical for me to just have sitting in my living room, right? So, so I have my 7200 and my 24-70 Mark II. So yeah, that's pretty much all I do. But the 51.2, that's kind of my go-to on video. And I did just purchase the 50 to 150 f2.
Oh dang!
Which is I shot that. I was at Fitness of the Coast, and that's what I shot with in Charleston a couple weekends ago. So that's my new baby now.
Nice. Is that a Sony or is that a Sigma?
Which one?
The 50 to 150. The 50 to 150.
Yeah, the Sony GM. Yeah, the Sony one. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't realize they made that. That's cool.
Yep. Yeah, it came out this past year.
And is it one of the ones that they also give you an aperture ring on it?
Yeah, and it's internal zoom.
That's so nice.
Yeah, there's no jumping out. It stays what it is.
Yeah, especially having that aperture ring on the lens is just so nice when you're moving quick and your lighting just changes all of a sudden. You can just be so reactive.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely and actually I think another photographer who I mentored, she rented it to shoot basketball and she was like, "Yeah, Bruce, I'm getting it too." So it's a really good lens.
That's awesome.
Really, really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Gear. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
so I love this. And Haley, thank you so much for your question. Like I said, there's so many photographers in our community. What's awesome about Haley and Hope is they're actually seated athletes. So they photograph from a wheelchair, which as someone who's 6'2", I don't know how tall you are, Bruce, but I've noticed that my angle when I shoot, unless I'm conscious about it, is really awkward. And I've noticed that some of the photography that I've seen Haley do, because she photographs seated, it always has a really nice angle to it.
Yeah. I love getting lower angles. It just gives a whole nother perspective, like of viewing an athlete. Sometimes, I mean, you'll see a lot of shooters, like they'll get down like on their knees, like crouched and shoot down and low, like on the ground, which this is a different look. I guess there's a moment to shoot high, but whenever you're photographing, I mean, it's just good to have different perspectives, right? And I mean, and also, I hate doing this, but I mean, shooting wide, shooting there, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're on a 16 to 35, that gives you a different look, if you're shooting on so it really depends on what vibe you're really looking for. I've become a fan of I like to fill the frame whenever I shoot an athlete. So I like to, especially if I'm shooting vertical, I want them to actually fill the frame as much as possible and just have that background blown out. So I rather, not blown out. Sorry, exposure talk. I mean, more like blurred out. Yeah.
Bokeh, baby.
Yeah, bokeh. Yeah, bokeh king.
Awesome. All right, one more question on the photography thing, and then we're going to kind of wrap up a little bit. So, another big issue that kind of comes up in sports photography, in our industry especially, is licensing and media rights. I think there's some misunderstanding about what it means when we buy a photo package or when you, the photographer, send us, the athletes, images. Can you maybe help dispel some misunderstandings that happen on social media and elsewhere with photographers and clients?
Absolutely. So whenever, athletes are purchasing photo packages, of course, in the verbiage, which I mean, it's probably not read. I get it. You probably don't read it. But I mean, when we deliver photos, it is for social media purposes only. So what typically happens, we'll just give a scenario. We'll deliver photos to an athlete. An athlete will either, let's say they want to reach out to a brand or be with a brand, or a brand will reach out to them and say, "Oh, that's a really cool photo of you using that product. Like, do you mind can we use that? Can we use that photo?" And the athlete will be like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. Sure." But that's the answer is no. The answer should be
Mm-hmm.
no, but you can reach out to the photographer who took the photo, and I'm sure he can work out something with you. You shouldn't just give your photos to a brand. It's not the right thing to do. We gave it to you for social media purposes. So if a company or brand reaches out to you, you should direct them to the photographer to actually get licensing and usage for that photo.
What I hear you saying is when we purchase those photos from you, we're purchasing them for personal use only on social media, not just for use on social media, meaning I'm giving them to a brand to use on social media. That's outside the bounds of the contract. The contract is personal social media.
Personal use only. Correct. Yeah. That is, yeah. I understand the excitement when it happens, a brand reaches out to you and wants to use your photo, but that's just not, it doesn't, let me put it like this. The companies and brands, they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They know they're not, it's not like they're, oblivious to, they know the rules. They know what they should be doing. So we just need to keep them in check, and we appreciate if you athletes help us out on that aspect too.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't want to belabor the point, but I do think as we grow as a sport and as we grow in our knowledge as athletes, it's important for us to know how to be appropriate with the assets that you and other photographers, that we purchase from you and other photographers, right? So we can be good members of this whole ecosystem that is growing adaptive CrossFit.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
So then as we kind of wrap up, I think something that you've wanted to talk about and really share in this episode is what it's meant for you to be a part of the adaptive CrossFit community. So Bruce, I'm going to give you the floor to kind of just share about what it's meant to be a part of this community.
Absolutely. So I think, being in this industry, in this space, and, shooting for, I've shot, like I said, like we know, I've shot for plenty of brands, plenty of organizations, plenty of companies, plenty of, high profile people, but I don't think the adaptive community understands how much you all have done for me as a creator, and making me feel welcome in a community that I literally have nothing to do with. I have nothing relatable to your world, but the acceptance and the love that you guys provide me, is something I will cherish for a lifetime. I literally look forward to any adaptive event, any adaptive athlete that I meet, even when I'm walking around, like just the appreciation you guys show me for everything I do. You allow me to be myself when I create, and you love it no matter what. I love sharing how great the adaptive community is with other shooters. And I'm doing my best to try to bring more shooters into this space to show how much of a value you all have in this community. I will forever speak up for y'all and say that you do not get the amount of love and credit you all deserve. You deserve so much more. And I'm just grateful to be a part of raising awareness to the amazing thing that you guys can do on a daily basis. And let's not even talk about athletics, just talk about your real life, just the things you have to do in normal life. And then you bring it to the floor and then excel the things that you have to do on a normal day to day, So I just want to, I love y'all, man. Y'all are great. I really do. I love everything about the adaptive community, and I'm just grateful for everything you guys have allowed me to do. So that's what I got. Just very grateful, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Bruce. That really means a lot, especially the acknowledgement of the work we do outside the gym and on the competition floor. For many of us, the day-to-day is just as hard, if not harder, than in the gym. I'm not one of those people, but I know there are people in the community that life is like that. But getting on the floor, and for me, getting to undo some narratives in my head that I've had since I was a kid. For other people, getting to tell doctors that they were wrong, for other people, getting to get back to physical activity when they thought they would never be able to again. Thank you for telling those stories.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate that.
It's been an honor, man, for sure. Yeah. So grateful.
Bruce, thanks so much for being on the podcast, man. This has been wonderful getting to talk with you.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, long overdue, man. Glad I finally got on here, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of the podcast. The adaptive community is lucky to have Bruce Williams telling our stories and capturing our moments on the competition floor. And I hope the conversation helped you see the person behind the lens. There's 2 things I want you to take away. First, Bruce's dad said, closed mouths don't get fed. Like Candace said in the first episode of this season, we have to put ourselves out there with brands, with communities, with potential partners. Nobody's coming to find us. We have to put ourselves out there. And second, learn how to work with the content creators in this space. When a brand asks to use a photo a photographer took of you, that's not your call. Direct them to the photographer, tag the photographer, support their work. It has value, and so does that relationship. If this episode was helpful, share it with someone in the community. Leave a review, hit subscribe. It helps more people find us, and that matters. I'm Matt Hotho, and I'll see you next time.